Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs. This is intended for all viewers who see it whenever they see it. It was originally created for Tuesday, the 15th of June. So we will be discussing sort of the readings previous to it in the days previous. For the weekly reading, when I talk about the underpinning energy, that's located at the end of the video in the lower left-hand corner of the screen on YouTube. You can tap that and see the weekly video that energy is coupled with this for this week. If you're watching this on a date that's not June 15th, that's completely fine. It still may make sense and apply to whatever's going on in your life. So take the information and use it as best as you know how. Please check out the drop-down menu on the YouTube video for the daily forecast. There's just stuff in there that I want you to be aware of when watching any of my videos. Also ways to support the channel, how to book a private reading, my social media contacts, all that stuff is in there. All right, so this is the daily forecast. Those of you that watch me, you know kind of the drill, so we're just going to get right into it. Let's see what's going on with the cards. What we need to know, what we want to be aware of, what we want to make the best use of, or maybe even avoid altogether if there's something else going on that we need to know about. But let's see. All right. Okay. Hey, Divine Guidance. This is Archangel Sandalphon. This is actually the archangel who rules over Pisces. I know that because I'm a Pisces. He's the brother to Metatron. He kind of doesn't get as much press as Metatron, certainly. He doesn't hold such a high established setting in the archangel hierarchy, but he is Metatron's brother. This is Divine Guidance, and it's card number 5. It is Major Arcana. So what I am going to say about this is this I know right out of the gate is the Hierophant card. And the Hierophant card is usually about sort of higher learning, spiritual awareness, but from a more structured kind of viewpoint, I feel like, where the Hermit is more sort of, how do I want to say this? So it's interesting that we see this card today, because again, we're dealing with earth energy, spiritual awareness, which is sort of like two kind of opposites in a way when I think about it right out of the gate. Earth energy is very much practical, grounded, physical in nature, dense, right? If you think about it in those terms. And then with this spiritual aspect, it's kind of like the harmony of heaven and earth, right? Where we see in the Hermit, it's about that self-seeking journey that we go on and that we choose to go on, that we go to the depths of, say maybe the darkest parts of ourselves to understand who we are at a deeper, more spiritually connected level. And that was our Sunday card for the beginning of the week. We're still in that beginning of the week, right? We're kind of going into Tuesday. So we should be shifting from that Hermit energy, that underpinning of the Hermit energy, into that Two of Wands, which brings us into that spiritual state, right? So we have a marriage of the spirit and the body happening between the Hermit, and not only within the Hermit card, but also with the Hermit and what he represents, and the Two of Wands, right? Where there's that shift towards the spiritual. Now, this Divine Guidance, to me, Archangel Sandalphon being the Hierophant, is about sort of taking that spiritual awareness, that higher learning, that education, social status, social awareness, what is the right thing to do in a given situation, how to behave accordingly, so to speak. Those are all things that represent within the Hierophant, right? Sometimes he can even represent marriage, like institutions, structures, social structures and confines, things that we are sort of raised in, societal awareness, that sort of stuff. But here, to me, he is sort of saying to me, put that good knowledge, whatever that we've gained out of the last few days, or maybe in the last few weeks for some of us, if we've been soul seeking and exploring, utilizing that Hermit energy or that awareness, putting that to good use, right? Putting that to strong, solid, productive use. Those would all be Taurian energies, right? To me, in my mind. And this card is associated with the planet, or with Taurus, the sign of Taurus, not with the planet, sorry, with the sign of Taurus. So it's a very strong, stable, productive, card, right? Or that energy. Now, the card says, the search for meaning of life, consider an alternative approach, surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. So this can also be about not only I gotta give the dog her medicine. This is not only about having that education. It can be also about sort of broadening it, growing it, adding to it, right? Through other teachers, remaining teachable, open-minded, all of that. But also with the Hierophant, there's always a sense of like sort of authority to it, where he's a teacher himself in a way. So we can also take on the role of teacher or guide. We don't necessarily have to be seeking one, right? So those of you that might feel a little bit lost or confused, or what do I do? What do I do? The whole point of this channel is to not only connect you to your higher understanding and connect you to the more positive messages that are out there and available to you, but it's also to sort of remind you and remember, this is that stone for the week, which is remember, like, and I said this on Sunday, remembering who we are at a deeper level, right? At a more profound, deeper level, spiritually, right? And so I feel like the Hierophant kind of asks us to connect into that in a very real way, right? That would be the Taurian earthbound energy to it. The strength that we see here in the pillars on either side, the light that emanates from his crown, this awareness of what I know to be true, what my experiences are, putting those experiences into practical knowledge, and then utilizing that knowledge to sort of lead with our best intelligence, our best awareness, our best attempts at whatever it is that we do, right? And so I think that this is a beautiful card to have today. It is major arcana, so it should be empowering today. Today should be a very powerful day for us. We've seen a fair amount. What was yesterday's card? Was yesterday's card major arcana too? No, it wasn't. But we had like that Sun Oracle card. It just feels like this is a really good week. I want to go to this theme of the marriage of heaven and earth, at least in the beginning of this week, for each of us. If we can tether our physical experience to our spiritual experience and understand that both are working concurrently and together in harmony, we have a chance to gain an education and awareness and intelligence about who we are and what we need, what we deserve, all of those sort of things. That's that remember stone, right? So I think that today is the day to either, I don't want to say seek that guidance. I almost feel like, to me, this card feels like my viewers need to put their learning to the test, or not even to the test. I don't even say that there's a test, because that gives an implication that there's a potential for failure. I don't feel like there's a failure with this card. I feel like now's the time to sort of step up into the shoes of the Hierophant and be our own educator, be our own intelligence in a way, right? And have that be connected to our spiritual self. I hope that makes sense, guys. So let's see what the Oracle card has to say. Okay, we've Goddess of the Moon. So this is on the cover of the box. I will say this, it's card number 52, which takes us to a 7, first and foremost, and we have a card number 5 over there. The Goddess of the Moon, to me, this is about connecting to, or where this takes me in my sort of interpretation of this, is this would be about connecting to our more intuitional side, again, to our darker side, similar to like the energy of the hermit, how he goes into the cave and seeks the light that is within him. The moon aspect to this would represent sort of the subconscious or the intuition. The goddess would be the more feminine presence of this reading, right? The balance between the masculine of the Hierophant and the feminine of the Goddess of the Moon. Again, she would be an authority, being a goddess, right? Similar to like how the Hierophant is also the sort of societal authority or teacher. To me, what these cards say is they're like sort of calling us to step up into who we are, what we know, the truth that is within us, seeking that out, tapping that information. If you look behind the goddess of the moon, there's like this waterfall flowing through the little mountains behind her. To me, that sort of represents kind of, if we connect to our intuition and our knowing, right, our deeper sense of self, right, that would be the moon aspect of this goddess of the moon card, and we allow that to kind of be okay wherever that may be. That flow of the waterfall to me is sort of like we allow that truth to flow through us, and through us not only spiritually or intuitionally, if that's a word, but also emotionally, right? To me, there's a quiet peace to both of these cards today. There is a self-assuredness would be a really good word for these two cards paired together today. There's a balance for these two cards today. These are things that you want to seek, right? So we're talking words like keywords like self-assuredness, balance, peace, wisdom, being your own guide, or allowing yourself to be guided by your own higher self or spirit, not necessarily seeking outside information or others' knowledge to apply to our situation, but drawing that knowledge from within and allowing that to indicate or educate our experience and move us through this day. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Let me go to the grounding stone. Okay, we're back to this stone again. It's important, I guess, because this was here last week on Snowflake Obsidian. Again, our third stone in obsidian. Again, to me, as the obsidians take me to the subconscious, the shadow self, the deeper parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily associate with always or share with the world. I'm not saying we have to share that with the world. I think maybe we could, certainly with the Hierophant, because he's kind of like a public figure. He's a teacher in a way. So we might find ourselves being a teacher today or being out there in front of others. But with this energy stone, again, it's about maintaining those things that I just talked about, grounding in that self-assuredness, that awareness, that strength that these cards represent, the depth of the intuition that the goddess of the moon would represent, the embracing all aspects of ourselves and our own energy and owning that from a very deep, sort of profound place would be a huge gift to give to ourselves today. Resetting our sort of energy in a way towards this position of being a, how do I want to say this? Like I'm looking at this Hierophant card and it's feeling like, we get to drive the car. We need to remember, like, if our life is the vehicle, we're at the wheel ultimately, right? Yes, there's God involved. Yes, there is, for those of you that are religious or spiritual, yes, there may be a higher power or a God of some sort involved, or your guides, your angels, your higher self. There's a few different aspects that we're working with here, but all of those can kind of come into harmony, and we can be within that and still be the one sort of choosing and making the decisions within our world, within our environment, within our universe. And we can do so with, like, sort of, again, like I said, this calmness, this self-assuredness, this intelligence. But we need to sort of own that. For some of you, that might be scary. But today's the day. Step up, guys. All right, so I think that makes sense. It's a beautiful reading today. It's very quietly confident. So try and tap into that and work with that energy today. Please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We'll see how this builds. This should be an incredible week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.